You know, it's funny. Sometimes the most overlooked parts of a story are where the biggest secrets are hiding. We all do it, right? We hit a long list of names, a genealogy, and our eyes just glaze over. We skip it. But today, we're going to do the opposite. We're diving headfirst into one of the most famous genealogies ever written, because hidden in that boring list of names is an incredible story of cosmic repair.
So we're cracking open the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 1. And right out of the gate, we're hit with a 2,000-year-old puzzle that scholars have been chewing on for centuries. It's the very, very strange inclusion of 4 specific women in this family tree. And the question is simple, but it's a big one. Who are they? And why them?
All right, so this is definitely not the greatest hits of Israel's matriarchs. First up is Tamar, who had to pose as a prostitute to get justice from her own father-in-law. Then you've got Rahab, a Canaanite prostitute from the enemy city of Jericho. Next is Ruth, a foreigner, a Moabite, a people whose origin story in the Old Testament is, well, it's incestuous. And finally, there's Bathsheba, who isn't even mentioned by her own name. She's just the wife of Uriah, a name that immediately brings to mind adultery and murder. Every single one of these stories is dripping with scandal and irregularity.
Now, here's where the plot really thickens. You have to ask, who's not on the list? Where are Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel? You know, the founding mothers of Israel. They're gone. Their absence is this massive, flashing sign. It's telling us that Matthew isn't just trying to list famous ancestors. No, this is a curated list. He chose these 4 women for a very specific reason, and to figure it out, we need to find a forgotten key.
To solve this thing, we got to take a step back in time, into the world of what scholars call Second Temple Judaism. Now, this was the period when all these incredible dramatic stories were circulating, and one story in particular was hugely popular. This story is the missing piece of the puzzle. It's the cosmic key that's going to unlock the whole meaning of this genealogy. So this massively popular story is about a group of heavenly beings called the Watchers. And according to ancient Jewish tradition, which is based on their reading of Genesis chapter 6, these weren't just any angels. Oh no, these guys were members of God's divine council who went rogue. They abandoned their posts, illegally crossed the boundary from heaven to earth, and kicked off a total cosmic catastrophe.
And their rebellion created this, well, you could call it a template of corruption. It had a clear 4-step pattern. First, the boundary violation, leaving heaven for earth. Second, an illicit union with human women. Third, this union produced monstrous offspring, the giants of legend. And fourth, they taught humanity forbidden knowledge. Nasty stuff like advanced warfare, the arts of seduction and sorcery.
And the consequences? They were absolutely catastrophic. I mean, this was seen as the origin story for how widespread evil and violence just flooded the world. It wasn't a small mistake. It was a world-breaking event. So this template, illicit union leading to global disaster, became this powerful lens for understanding how evil worked. Okay, remember that template we're going to need.
All right, now that we have the Watchers template as our key, we can finally go back to those 4 women in the genealogy. And this is where it gets really cool, because you start to see that their stories don't just have scandal, they have clear echoes of this cosmic tragedy, but with a game-changing twist.
Let's start with Tamar. Her story involves disguise and seduction, things directly linked to the Watchers' corrupting arts. Her union with Judah is definitely transgressive. But what's the outcome? It's not chaos and monsters. It's Perez, a righteous heir who gets into the messianic line. You see? The pattern is there, but the result is completely flipped on its head. It goes from corruption to covenant.
Okay, next up, Rahab. Her story is a mashup of prostitution and warfare, 2 of the greatest hits of the Watchers' Corruption album. She deals with these mysterious messengers, or angels, and get this, she becomes the mother of Boaz, who's called a Gibbor, a mighty man, the exact same term used for the giant offspring of the Watchers. But in her story, all of this is redirected to save Israel and bring her into the family of God. It's another perfect echo and reversal. And then we have Ruth, a Moabite from a forbidden people. The scene on the threshing floor is so charged with seduction and risk. She uses beautification, anointing, dressing up, to approach Boaz in the middle of the night. It's a seriously transgressive act, but her loyalty and faithfulness completely transform the situation. It doesn't lead to corrupt offspring, it leads to Obed, who becomes the grandfather of King David. The royal line is secured through another stunning reversal. And finally, Bathsheba. Wow, this might be the clearest echo of all. Remember how the Watchers saw the women from on high and took them? Well, what does King David do? He sees Bathsheba from his rooftop, and he takes her. The story is a toxic mix of illicit desire and the manipulation of war, resulting in murder. It's almost a perfect playback of the Watcher template. And yet, the result is Solomon, the heir to the throne. Even through this epic failure, God's promise moves forward.
So are you seeing the pattern? Echo and reversal, over and over. What in the world is Matthew doing by weaving this pattern through his genealogy? He's setting the stage, he's building the tension, he's preparing us for the climax of the entire pattern, the one ultimate reversal that's going to finally fix all that ancient damage. And here it is. This is the whole point. The birth of Jesus is presented as a direct, point-by-point inversion of the Watcher's fall. Think about it. The Watcher story starts with an illicit sexual union between the heavenly and earthly. Jesus' story begins with a holy, non-sexual union. The Watchers produced monstrous giants who filled the earth with violence. Jesus is Emmanuel, God with us, who brings peace. The Watchers brought forbidden knowledge that led to corruption. Jesus brings divine revelation that leads to worship. It's the perfect fix.
And if you need any more proof, think about the first people who come to worship Jesus, the Magi. What were they? They were astrologers, practitioners of one of the very arts that was supposedly taught by the Watchers. But instead of using that knowledge to corrupt, its entire purpose is reversed. They use it to find the true king and worship him. The repair job is already underway.
So what? What does all this mean? Why would Matthew go to all the trouble to build this incredibly intricate, hidden argument inside a list of names? What is he trying to tell us before the story even really starts?
You know, this quote from the source material just nails it. This isn't just a boring list. It is a powerful theological argument. It's the good news in miniature, a prologue that frames absolutely everything that's about to happen.
So here's the big takeaway. This genealogy argues that Jesus didn't just come to forgive you for your individual sins. His mission is way bigger than that. It is one of cosmic repair. He has come to reverse the ancient corruption that started way back with the Watchers, to heal a world that was fundamentally broken by their rebellion. And suddenly, what seemed like a boring list of names becomes one of the most brilliant and profound prologues ever written.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If a dry-looking genealogy can be hiding a story this deep about cosmic rebellion and divine repair, what other incredible secrets are hiding in the parts of stories we're always tempted to skip? What if the most overlooked texts are exactly where the biggest stories are just waiting for us to find them?